Hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm Rantoinette. Boy, do we have a lot of stories to get into today. Apologies, I lost my voice over the weekend. I sang a show with my band and I kind of blew out my voice, so apologies. Normally, this would be the time where I would just, shut up and let my voice heal, but god damn, there's just so much to talk about, so I can't help myself. So I'm going to go as long as I can until my voice just completely gives out, and hopefully I'll be able to get out at least the majority of these crazy stories that we've got to talk about today. Okay, well, let's get into it. First, let's just talk about the economy. It is, ooh, honey, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. First of all, Trump is tanking in the polls. We are at 100 days now, and the honeymoon, it's over. He has got a 39% approval rating. It's the lowest in polling history. I mean, they've been doing polling since, I think it was FDR's last term was the first time we started to do polling. And it's unreal how low the polling is. I think the only people that are supporting Donald Trump at this point are male Gen Xers. Boy, the Gen Xers are not pulling their weight, I gotta say. But and the last time that we talked, or the last time I talked about this, the shipping was on everybody's mind about how much the shipping has been cut, coming from those big, huge, overladen tanker ships that are coming from China. They're just not coming now. The like I said before, the damage is done, and there is a delay, like 6 to 8 week delay on how these ships are coming into the country. And if you guys remember COVID, there was a huge supply chain breakdown because, nothing was being shipped out, and all of a sudden the shelves are bare. And we are looking at that right now. In about 2 weeks, that's going to be the 6-8 week period, starting with Liberation Day or Liquidation Day or whatever you want to call it. We're coming up on that now. So Walmart and Target and all of these cheap, affordable goods are not coming now. So we're going to be seeing some empty shelves. And that's the thing. The deal that we've made in this country over the last 40, 50 years is I don't want to say we, like I had a decision in it, but the conservative economic model is to ship all of our jobs out of the country. And, we have the solace of now becoming a consumer-based society. And with that comes cheap goods. So our housing is too much. We're not getting paid enough. Our rent's out of control. Our education's ridiculously expensive. Our health care is out of reach for so many people. But at least we could buy some cheap-ass treats from China. Well, now that that's going to be disappearing, what's left? I mean, honestly, what is left? I've said before, recession it's going to be a definite. Whether or not it's the depression, I don't know. Trump is very wishy-washy on what's going on, whether or not he's going to keep the tariffs, he's going to get rid of the tariffs. Some people are saying this, some people are saying that. But even if he turned around today, kissed China's ass, begged them to turn around, which China does not seem to be really excited about, making a deal with Donald Trump. He said, "Oh, I've got like 200 deals in the works." It's like, dude, there's not even 200 countries. So what are we talking about? And they asked Treasury Secretary Besant, who is basically carrying water for him, and the news reporter over the weekend asked him, and she's like, well, what do you mean by 200 deals? And he's like, well, we're talking about like I don't know, sub deals. Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? Sub deals? Secretary Besant is basically walking along the beach while the tide rolls out for the big tsunami to come. And he's offering everybody that's left on the beach, going, hey, you want me to get you a drink? Everything is fine. Don't worry about the ocean just disappearing. It'll be fine. Just sit there, relax, absorb some sun, and I noticed that the birds and the doggies and all the animals have left the area, so I'm going to take off. But you just stay real comfortable right where you are, and everything's just going to be just fine. Oh my God, Secretary Besant is basically the mayor from Jaws. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Go in the water. It's all good. There's no problems. People just don't, I'm walking around the city looking at people, and, sometimes I feel kind of alarmist by saying this, but people really don't know what's coming. When the shelves start to turn bare, you are going to see some rioting in the street. And this is also troubling because Donald Trump is obviously slipping in the polls. Even Republican people are not liking what he's doing. He will always maintain about 30% of his hardcore base that will never leave him no matter what he does. But there's a lot of people who are starting to notice how ugly this is all looking. And when there starts to be riots on the street for food and cheap goods that people need to survive, when that's gone, that's going to back him into a corner. And this is Trump's second term. His first term, he was surrounded by some people that say, Mr. President, no, you can't shoot protesters in the leg. No, Mr. President, you can't tariff the entire world. No, Mr. President, you can't do these things. And let me explain to you why. Well, those people are all gone. I saw an interview with, I think his last name is Cohen. He was one of Trump's chief economic advisors in his first term. I saw an interview with him, and he's now sounding the alarm bell. And look, this Cohen guy, I'm not a fan of. He is a staunch Republican, but he was one of those people that was able to reel Donald Trump back in from his craziness. All those people are gone. He's surrounded by, Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller and Pam Bondi, and these people are not giving him good advice. Somebody asked Donald Trump about court cases, and the Supreme Court said, hey, 9-0, they said you got to bring that guy Abrego Garcia home, and he's like, I don't know about that. My people told me that it's fine. And he was talking about Stephen Miller, but Donald Trump is not paying attention. And it's going to get to a point where people are losing their shit on the streets. And what's Donald Trump going to do? Well, he's just going to, call up Pete Hegseth and be like, okay, send in the military, and put these people down. So let me tell you a couple of things that's going on with the economy right now. People are already buying groceries on credit, buy now, pay later for groceries. That's already happening. We haven't even gotten to the point where the bare shelves are hitting. Like I said, in a couple of weeks, that's going to be happening. Even Walmart and Target, the presidents of those companies went to Donald Trump and was like, we're going to have empty shelves. And like I said, I don't know if Donald Trump's going to change his mind. He seems pretty damn adamant about going back to the 1890s robber baron style, President McKinley, where 10 people own everything and everybody else is scrounging for scraps on the street. He seems to want to go that way. And I mentioned before about the knock-on effects of what's going to happen with these tariffs. When there is no product coming in, that means that the ports of entry where product would normally come in, like longshoremen, they're going to be losing their jobs. Those people are going to be getting laid off because there's going to be less work. We're talking about 45% less work for them. They'll be getting some stuff from other countries, but nothing from China. So we're going to be down about 45, 50% at those ports. So half those people are going to get fired. What about the truckers? Truckers need to, move product across the country, trains and what have you. Those people are going to be getting laid off. I mean, those people are already working on the margins as it is, trucking companies. And when that's gone, they're going to be getting laid off. They're going to be losing their jobs. So it's not just federal workers that's going to be losing employment. It's going to be a lot of private sector workers. Also, with all of the nonsense about, rounding up people, and deporting them to foreign countries, many countries are not going to be coming to America. So tourism is going down. And it's already having effect in Vegas. Vegas is like a ghost town right now. Hotels are laying off staff left and right. And that's just a precursor for what's to come. And, they were talking about, here's the thing. You've got to tell me which one it is. Are you tariffing because you want to build up American manufacturing, or are you tariffing because it's the art of the deal? He sets up tariffs and everybody's like, oh, he's doing this because he wants to build up American manufacturing. And then he backs off some tariffs and they're like, oh, look at him, art of the deal. So, is he doing these tariffs because he's trying to make deals with these other countries? Obviously he's not working with China, or is he doing it because he wants American manufacturing? I just heard a story today that Apple is now going to be doing manufacturing in India now. So all of those jobs that Secretary Nutlick, God, he's such an idiot. The guy that said, Americans are going to be putting little screws and little machines. Well, those jobs are now going to go to India. So I guess that's not happening. And if you want to build a factory in this country, you need raw materials to build the buildings, to build the machinery. Well, with tariffs, all of those, steel materials, those prices are going to go up. People are not going to be building factories here, not just because of the unstable nature of our economy, but because prices are too expensive. Trump shut down that Chips and Sciences Act that Joe Biden passed, which was going to, have us do like superconductors and computer chips that used to be done in Taiwan, and Biden wanted to bring them here. All those jobs are now going to be gone. An American Subaru plant. Now, Subaru is a Japanese company. They make the Forester and the WRX and that kind of stuff. Recently, last week, I went to the car show at the Javits here in New York, and Subaru's not there. It turns out that Subaru is going to be closing an American plant that we were selling, I think we sold like 17,000 cars a year to Canada. Well, with the tariffs going on with Japan, China, Canada, Mexico, all the other countries, now Japan is just going to be making those Subarus, in Japan and shipping them directly to Canada. They're closing down the factory that we have. So that means American workers are going to be losing their Subaru manufacturing jobs. Not only are we not building in this country, now jobs are leaving this country. I mean, in a perfect world, if you did a lot of industrial planning, like building up the grid and giving incentive monies to companies to come build their factories here, And if you were doing that at the same time or before you instituted your tariff policy, then maybe that down the road would give the Americans back their industry. But he's not doing that. He's employing Austrian austerity economics. This is not Keynesian economics, this on like supply and demand side economics. We've been doing demand style economics. We've been doing supply side economics for a long time. And, Keynesian economics is, more pro-worker, just to give you an easy breakdown. And Austrian economics is more about austerity. And austerity means we're just going to be cutting every social service that you have and basically funneling money straight up to the wealthy, like the Laffer curve and trickle-down economics. And by the way, this myth that Republicans are the best on economics has gone on way too long. It's every time you talk to a conservative, like, well, I'm voting my pocketbook. Republicans are always better for me. Well, because they do deregulation and tax cuts for wealthy people. So they are under the assumption that Republicans are better on the economy. Well, let's just look back into history. Reagan did 2 terms, and in 1987, towards the end of his term, we had the savings and loan crisis. And then the next Republican president we had was George W. Bush. And at the end of his term in 2007, 2008, we had the huge economic housing crisis. At the end of Trump's first term in 2020, we had COVID. Everybody remembers COVID. Supply chain fails. Economics go out the window. We added $11 trillion of debt. I don't really give a shit about, the debt crisis, not like Republicans do, but, if there's a Republican listening to me right now, he added $11 trillion worth of debt in the first couple of weeks of the COVID crisis, injecting money straight into the stock market. That's taxpayer money. You guys are always talking about America's debt, but you don't seem to give a shit about it when he's doing it. And here we are in his second term, and don't give me this shit that this is Biden. It's not Biden, honey. This is all Trump's economic policies. If Donald Trump came into this office and has not done any economic, fidgeting or tweaking, then you could say, okay, I am still on the previous president's economic policies. But that's not the situation that we're in right now. Donald Trump has done a whole lot of stuff with the tariffs and the austerity that he's doing. This is Trump's economy. And when it tanks, and it's tanking as we speak, April had 4 1,000-point drops on the market. The market lost something like $10 trillion worth of value. And I don't care how many times Secretary Bessent goes out there and strokes Donald Trump's ego. The market is not recovering. The dollar is, normally in an economic crisis, the dollar value shoots through the roof because everybody runs to buy treasury bonds because it's a safe bet, low yield, but it doesn't lose money. Well, now the dollar is dropping as well as the stock market. And people are investing in gold now. It is becoming very obvious that we are heading to a massive economic crisis. I think that the 2008 housing crisis is going to look like, child's play. It's going to look like an easy Sunday morning compared to what we're about to hit. And it's coming. It's coming. So, oh, Lord, I just want you guys to be prepared when it happens. I'm not trying to be an alarmist. I'm just saying that we're looking straight at an economic disaster. And, when that tsunami comes in, oh, Lord, have mercy.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.